I'm Kirstin Frescoln. I'm a research associate here at the Center for Urban and Regional Studies at UNC. And I study poverty and health, particularly through the lens of housing and community development. I've spent the last 20 plus years working with highly vulnerable populations. And when I came to UNC and I began my work here at the center, I joined the team that was doing this evaluation of public housing. And I particularly wanted to look at how some of the housing authorities' policies were impacting family well-being. So most of our families in Charlotte are African American moms, single moms with dependent kids. And so I wanted to look at how those housing authority policies were impacting their families, their family well-being. It's really important for us to understand how policies impact family well-being, and in particular, policies that are coming through public housing authorities are intended to impact economic mobility. So we're trying to help families become engaged in employment, to increase their incomes, and work requirements are new in public housing. They've been around as part of the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families, TANF, or welfare reforms since the late 90s. But they're very new in public housing, and we need to understand if this is a positive for families or a negative. There are only about 8 housing authorities in the United States right now that have a work requirement. Charlotte is one of them. But it seems to be something that will be tested, and we anticipate having more housing authorities with work requirements. So this is an opportunity to understand how those should be implemented and their impacts on families. So my part of the research was reaching out and talking with families impacted by the work requirement. And the most surprising part of that research was finding that the women, really all of them, supported the work requirement. I don't know what I expected, but I think I did expect more pushback, and almost without exception, the women we spoke with supported the work requirement. They thought that it was the right thing to do, that they wanted to work, that they felt it was the right thing for their families, and they just needed a little bit of help, and they wanted the housing authority to recognize if they were trying. But it was surprising. I didn't necessarily expect so much support for the work requirement. We are looking to extend this research to understand what will happen in Charlotte as they expand the work requirement across the rest of the public housing developments, to work with some of the other public housing authorities that have already implemented work requirements, or that are contemplating implementation of a work requirement. We also are looking to further investigate this question about community support for work. What happens when you shift the percentage of families within a development and you increase the families that are working? Do things like bridging social capital come into play? Does social cohesion improve? So those are kind of exciting directions to take this that I think go beyond what you would expect to see with a work requirement.